Let's try and book our first appointment. There are two ways to do so. One is by clicking the New Job button from anywhere in the software. Don't forget to save whatever you were doing before. The second way is to choose a slot in the schedule. The main difference between the New Job button and the slot in the schedule is the slot in the schedule presets the time, date, and the technician. However, it does not preset the profession, since some technicians can belong to multiple professions. Let's give it a try. First, we're going to start by filling in the owner's info. It could be a company or a single property owner. Notice that as I type, a name appeared under. It could be that the customer who's calling is already a customer we serviced before. If that's the case, once I click it, it would prompt me to merge customers. If I say yes, it would then tell me other things he did. If that's not the case, we should not merge. I'm going to create a new customer. If I make a mistake and I try to save, it would tell me a prompt of what I've done wrong. After we filled in the owner info, let's fill in the address info. Keep in mind, the postal code is also a must, and all those 4 slots in the address are mandatory. The reason we added the postal as mandatory is because one of our customers mentioned to us that in his area, the same street and number could appear twice in the city with different postal codes. So we don't have confusion, we made it mandatory. You can always have a certain postal code that you choose to act as default if you don't need to use the postal. In the directions, we give directions to the technician of where to park, how to get in, or anything related to arrival of the appointment. It has nothing to do with the job he has to do, only with the arrival. After we filled in the address, let's create a job. We do so by clicking the wrench button. Notice how the technician is there, the date is there, the starting time is there, but there is no duration and no technician type. The duration is automatically selected once I tell which technician could go there. I've selected refrigeration and it automatically gave 2-hour gap for that appointment. You can always change that, but this is just a suggestion. Type of machine, refrigerator. Brand, let's just select one. Job source is where the customer is, how the customer reached your company. In some cases, it's mandatory to ask, and in some companies, it's not. So it's up to the owner to decide how to deal with that. Let's say he called us from Google Ads. Now we write the complaint the customer has. At this point, we are pretty much done, and from this point on, the technician's duty is to fill in the details. In some cases, you already know in advance some of the details, so you can definitely select one. On this side, we have the activity log. Everything that happened since the booking will be notified here. You can also add a note of your own. When the list gets long, you can always filter out what's automatic and what was written by the people who were actively on that job. Here we can always add an image or a file, send the customer an invoice, create means send, or send him a quote. The main difference between the two is that the quote actively asks the customer to sign and approve it. If the customer has approved, his signature would appear here. If we would like to create a second appointment for the same job, we do so by clicking right. Notice how everything got to default. That means that you have to select again who is going there and why. In some cases, the different technician is required after the first technician has arrived, and in some cases it would be the same technician coming back with parts. Let's say it's a different technician this time around. Let's see how it looks like in the schedule. So I've created the two appointments, and the job ID is the same job ID since it's still ongoing project. The invoice would belong to both, so no matter which you click, it would always show the same data. You can also see the different appointments by navigating them here. Here we have the status of the job. So it will be updated by the technician or by you as you follow up with the job. For example, parts were ordered or parts are booked for install. The mark here in orange means that the job is still ongoing and was not yet finished. Let's try and create a second job for that same customer. Let's assume that this time around, it's a different property of the customer. In that case, we will press the address button. And let's assume that in that address, he has a tenant, so meaning he doesn't live there. It's still his place, but he rents it out to someone else. In that case, we're gonna add a tenant. Now let's create another job. This time around, I'm going to choose a different profession to choose a different tech. Notice how the other technician is not available here, since he cannot do the same job. In this case, it's a dishwasher. The brand is Maytan. It's a returning customer, meaning we already dealt with him before. The client's note, not draining. At this point, if I didn't select the time, it would not save. It shows as saved for the data, but it didn't create a job because I did not select the right time. If I select a time when the technician cannot go, it would prompt me to say he cannot go there.